Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to the NASA Gregory G. Leptoukh second online Giovanni workshop. This is your host, Jennifer Brennan. I've got 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so I'd like to go ahead and get started. Not only am I your host, but I am also the NASA Earth Observing System Data and Information System Communications Lead for the ESDIS project at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. What I'd like to do first is go over a few housekeeping items related to this webinar. First, to ensure the best audio experience, the conference has been placed in silent mode. However, if you have any issues or questions, please enter them into the Q&A pod located on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. This works like a chat. The webinar or the workshop this week will be recorded and posted online after the workshop. When we have some details as to exactly where we will post that, I will put the URL up at the end, and I will follow up with all participants as well. Okay. Speaker presentation files have also been uploaded, and they will be available for download at the end of each talk. So the program layout is as follows. Each talk is 1 hour long. However, there are 30 minutes allocated to the presentation with a 15-minute question and answer period that will follow each talk, and then a 15-minute break following the question and answer period. Questions will not be answered using the raising hand function. It has been disabled. What we will do is we'll take all questions using the Q&A pod at the end of each talk. What I'd like to do next is turn it over to our organizer here, Jim Acker, who is a Senior Support Scientist at the NASA Goddard Earth Sciences Data and Information Services Center, or GESDISC. He will go over the agenda and also begin with some opening remarks. It is my pleasure to introduce our workshop organizer, Jim Acker.
Hello, everybody. Jennifer, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. I assume everyone else can hear me. Yes, thanks, everyone. I can see more people are arriving as we talk here at the beginning. My first talk is actually, when you look at the agenda, the first official talk will be at 9:30, and so I have a few opening remarks, and then, like many meetings do when you're actually standing around and talking to people, you can go out and finish your breakfast, or you can get coffee and enjoy each other's company at this particular time. The first thing I would like to do is acknowledge Jennifer's help in setting the workshop up. The first time we did this 2 years ago, we did this at a bare bones, minimal technology level where we used WebEx, and it was conducted entirely in silent mode, which was using the chat window on WebEx. And so everybody had to pay attention and keep reading and occasionally type in questions at the same time. One of the problems with using WebEx was that we didn't have any way to record the sessions. And so this particular use of Adobe Connect, all of these sessions are going to be recorded. And so people that can't attend for reasons of having to sleep on the other side of the world, or just schedule conflicts, can come back and look at the recordings later. And this is a nice aspect of using Adobe Connect. So I'd like to thank Jennifer. She's done a really good job of giving each of our speakers some time to test out their talks, doing dry runs with them, making sure that the presentation works online. So that was very important. Another aspect of this, it's being hosted by the NASA Earth Science Data and Information System, ESDIS for short, and they are the ones that arranged to have the Adobe Connect system for us. We use that as well for monthly webinars that Jennifer hosts, so you can learn more about the system around NASA. All the various data centers produce webinars, so I invite you to take a look at that. I also want to thank the Goddard Earth Sciences Data Information Services Center Management, who are both responsible for keeping the work for Giovanni going and archiving all our data sets and allowing us to do things like this to bring the information about Giovanni out to the greater community. I'd like to go over briefly the agenda that we've got. I think we have a pretty good agenda, very cross-cutting in terms of the types of uses you can see Giovanni for. So today, starting about 9:30, I'm going to go over what we've currently got for Giovanni, but we are in a transitional period, as many people are aware. We are switching from Giovanni 3 to Giovanni 4, and so Chris Linus, who leads the development effort here at the GS DISC, will be talking at 10 o'clock about where Giovanni 4 is and where it's going, and give you a good overview of some of the various uses that the system has been used for. There's a lot of really nice interdisciplinary stuff that can be done with the system now that wasn't capable with Giovanni 3. After that, I'll have a hopefully interesting presentation on some of the research highlights that I've seen. We have a little surprise that will come at the end of that, which I made sure was correct. And then this afternoon, we're going to meet 3 speakers. We'll have Cecile Rousseau, who's here at Goddard, and she'll be talking about decadal trends in global pelagic chlorophyll, which is something that's been on everyone's mind since the CWIFS mission launched, looking at whether or not chlorophyll is increasing or decreasing in the global ocean. And then I'd like to invite an overseas talk, Gregory Jenkins. I'm sorry, Gregory Jenkins is not overseas. We have another speaker that's overseas. Greg is from Howard University, and he'll be talking about looking at air quality in West Africa associated with Saharan dust events. Saharan dust is easy to see. I use it for a lot of different examples and demonstrations when I'm talking about Giovanni, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what Greg has to say. Followed by that, we'll have Ramesh Singh from Chapman University, and he'll be talking about using it to look at some things that are on minds when we have hurricanes and polar vortices and all these things happening with the weather, looking at land-ocean atmospheric coupling associated with natural hazards. So I think we'll have a really good program on the first day. And on the second day, we're going to have Pavel Kishta from Tel Aviv, Israel, Tel Aviv University, talking about aerosol optical thickness over the Atlantic Ocean. Adnan El-Azri, who's from Oman, will be talking about a massive bloom of, hope I can say this correctly, Coclodinium polycricoides in the Sea of Oman. John Leder of the Environmental Protection Agency will talk about looking at satellite remote sensing to improve the predictions of coastal hypoxia. And for those of you that don't know coastal hypoxia off the top of your head, that also means what are called dead zones, which is where the oxygen in the water column goes to virtually zero due to bacterial degradation of organic matter. That's a very interesting topic for me because in our series on the web, I coined a phrase called creeping dead zones for this same phenomena that has been picked up around the world, and we even got credit for making it up when it was just something I had composed off the cuff. Following that, it's a similar talk. Boomjun Kil will be talking about looking at the effects of a hurricane, tropical cyclone, which we also call a hurricane, affecting the Gulf of Mexico, a very interesting feature that was seen in remote sensing. And we'll finish up with Joanna Vonova from University of Delaware, looking at wind and zooplankton in the Delaware Bay. And finally, on day 3, we have Michael Taylor, who is from Greece, looking at aerosols and using neural networks, which we have a couple of experts on neural networks here at the DISC. Hopefully they'll be quite interested in that. We have from London, at least from England, Siobhan Leroy, and he's talking about phytoplankton dynamics using Giovanni. And then we finish up with Yang Zhu, who's looking at carbonaceous aerosols over California. I assume that might mean some wildfire burning and things like that. And finally, I'm going to talk about something that happened just this past summer. So it's not publishable research at this point, but it may be something we can look at later, which was when a bloom of phytoplankton cut down, forced the city of Toledo to rely entirely on bottled water for a couple of days when they were concerned about contamination of the water supply. And so I'm going to use Giovanni in various different ways to look at what happened in that event. And on the following day, and I'll let you look at the global poster session that we have 12 different posters that you can examine online. They'll be available to look at that day. I'm going to put them online and check them out on Wednesday, and then it'll be open to the public Thursday. And then you can ask questions of the authors on Friday. Now, I haven't received a lot of people asking me for the email address, and so if you'd like the email address for the authors, you should email me, and I'll make that announcement throughout the week. We didn't want to, their email address may actually also be on the poster. I didn't require that, but you can look at it, and you can also send questions to them, and they will reply. So anyways, that's about all I have to say. I also want to thank a couple of people individually. Steve Kempler is the Goddard DAC manager and supports Giovanni and all our work here, and so he's quite useful to us. We also want to thank the systems administrators who keep our systems going, keep Giovanni up and running at various times when it can go down or the data disk can get completely full. And finally, I'd like to thank all of the people that have used the system, because it's been very enjoyable to see it grow, see it be adapted and become the research tool that it is today. And that's one of the main reasons that we are holding this workshop. And we want to highlight the various uses that it has been put to, the way it contributes to research, and at least preview some of the things that can be done with it, and potentially augment research that you're already doing, see how other people are using it, and get a lot of feedback from the user community that will help us develop the system into something better and really meet the user community where it works and find out how we can best optimize the system to make it even better than it has been before. And so that's about all I have to say until 9:30. We'll stay on schedule because we know people are calling in from overseas and potentially waking up at 5 a.m. or something like that to listen in. So we'll take a break till 9:30, and I'll get on at that point, and I'll give the first official presentation of the workshop.
Okay, thank you, Jim. This is Jennifer again. The one thing I did want to say is I will include some instructions, perhaps during the break here, your lunch break today, regarding how to log in for the Friday, or where to go, I should say, for the poster session. You will not be joining us in the virtual meeting room for the poster session on Friday, and so we'll make sure that the URL is up and everybody has the appropriate instructions.
And Jennifer, I'm going to have the URL for you right after noon.
All right, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got about a 15-minute break here.
Everybody go get some coffee and some donuts if you're in a breakfast area at this point.